coming from you. Thank you very much. Baruch Dayan Ha'emet. We praise the Judge of Truth. Begin with Psalm 121. Esai enai el haharim me'ayin yavo Ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai oseh shamayim va'aretz. Al yitein lamot raglecha, al yanum shomrecha. Hinei lo yanum v'lo yishan, shomer Yisrael. Adonai shomrecha, Adonai tzilcha al yad yaminecha. Yomam hashemesh lo yakaka v'yarech ba'alayla, Adonai yishmarcha mikol ra. Yishmor et nafshecha. Adonai yishmar tzedcha uvoecha me'ata v'ad olam. I lift up mine eyes unto the mountains, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your protector will not slumber. See, the protector of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. The Lord is your guardian. He is your shade at your right hand. The sun will not strike thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will guard you from all harm. He will guard your soul, your going and your coming, now and forever. And now let us recite together in the English the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down beside the still waters. In green pastures he leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. It's a privilege to call forward Stephanie and then Steve to eulogize their dear grandmother and mother, and we will continue on.
Okay, so all of us cousins got together and wrote this for Grandma. Grandma Ruth was always an inquisitive person. She asked a lot of questions, sometimes even the same ones more than once. Her favorite question in recent years was, "Where's Bob?" We would tell her he's in a better place and she would nod her head, but the answer never seemed to satisfy her. Before our grandpa's passing, they were inseparable. They were simply Ruth and Bob. You never saw one without the other. And though there is always sadness in losing a loved one, we can also find solace in knowing that Ruth and Bob are finally reunited. As we honor the life of our beloved grandmother, we reflect on all the amazing memories that we had. There are quite a few. Here are some of our favorites. Grandma always recorded our favorite shows so we could watch them whenever we were there. She hosted literally every holiday and made each one super special and memorable. We always looked forward to her Mr. Brisket recipe. It wasn't a holiday without it. As grandkids, we loved going out to eat with her and Grandpa, especially on days when we would be sick from school. Grandma always made sure to bring wet wipes to cover the table and napkins to ensure cleanliness, ignoring the fact that the food we were eating was terrible for our bodies. Even though she was reserved, we learned about her personality through other ways. We saw it in the way she decorated her home with her artistic taste and style. What seemed like countless pictures, photos, paintings, sculptures that covered the walls of their home. She never talked much about her career of owning her own photography studio, but after Grandpa Bob passed and going through their things, it became evident of her talent by looking at her old sketches and photographs. Although she never seemed like the most adventurous person, she had a lot more adventurous spirit that she let out. She loved to learn about other cultures. She was terrified of flying, but that didn't stop her from experiencing life. She loved to go on road trips with her girlfriends and Grandpa to explore America. Her refrigerator was covered in magnets, indicating her love of travel and the importance of collecting keepsakes to remember her journeys. We all remember how incredibly lucky she was, always winning radio contests, sweepstakes, which we benefited from. We kept the radio station on speed dial to help her win. She always took care of us. When we were sick, we spent a lot of time on her and Grandpa's brown couch watching shows and movies she recorded for us while eating plain toast and sipping cold ginger ale. Our fan favorites included Pippi Longstockings, Jumanji, and Richie Rich. She always kept the house stocked with our favorite cereals, especially Count Chocula. She was incredibly supportive with all of our extracurricular activities, attending Jackie's choir concerts, Sam's band performances, which was heavy metal, and Beth and David's soccer games. I didn't have positive extracurricular activities, so I'm not on this. Grandma may not have ever really articulated her affection, but she surely showed it. Interestingly, we don't recall her often saying, "I love you," until the last few years of our life, but that never raised an eyebrow. Because she loyally and thoroughly demonstrated her love for us every day of our lives. Grandma's way of loving us was by caring for us, giving to us, showing up for us, worrying about us, and keeping track of every little detail in our life. Nobody took the role of Grandma more seriously than her, and we are forever grateful. Yeah, it's good she never,
In the last few years, I finished meeting my mom. My mom had a wide range of personality traits. Some she wore on the outside, and that's how we mostly knew her. She was budget-wise, but generous, orderly, but she loved baseball and was a Jimmy Buffett concert goer with great enthusiasm for his music. She was reserved with her emotions, but expressed her love unmistakably for her grandkids. She was bossy with my dad, but was dedicated to him for 64 years of marriage, and she missed him dearly when he was gone. She asked over and over, "Where is Bob?" My most frequent answer was, "He's in heaven. What's he doing there?" "Well, he's reading National Geographic." She wanted to visit. I said, there's no address. She paused, and just like Grandma Ruth, just like Mom, she said, "I know. Let's contact National Geographic. Obviously, they have his address." When she declined, she could not watch all the locked doors. Behind those doors was her soft side. The doors unlocked one by one, and we were privileged. I know my sister talked a lot about this. It was a very meaningful, important part of her relationship, and for me also. We were privileged to see a sweeter and softer side. Hearing her say, "I love you," every time we visited was a treat. I once asked her, especially as we were raising our kids, I said, "Mom, why didn't you ever say I love you?" And she said, "I guess because no one ever told me that." But it was in her, and feeling those words was just comforting. It was a kind of a healing feeling. So we got to see all sides of our mom, but not all at once. Another aspect to my mom is she did big things. In September of 1944, Ruth and her 5 girlfriends took a 20-day bicycle trip in New England. They started at Terminal Tower on September 8th, 1944. It was her 19th birthday. They put their bikes on a train and they made their way to New England, and they traveled through Vermont, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts. Carol Sharpie, my mom's best friend, held onto the scrapbook journal, the photographs, and the train tickets from 1944 with really good intentions to put this book together until 2017, when her daughter, having heard about this trip, Lisa, her daughter, helped her finally publish a book, and they sent us a copy, which we now have as a treasured memento. And it is my plan to get that book reproduced or republished. It was Apple Books, so that all the grandkids and Sue and I all have a copy. Now let's talk about the contest. Barbara's probably the only one who doesn't know, Barbara Goulet, my mom's dear friend and healthcare aide, about my mom and her contests. Did you know about that? Okay. Ruth Newman was a professional contest player. She started in 1963 with crossword puzzles in the Cleveland Press. They were called Crafty Cutie. She was winning regular cash, sending my dad to the store to get extra copies so she could enter more than once. And he was enthusiastic. And then she graduated to radio and TV contests. Her biggest win early on was a Beatles-themed contest on Wixie 1260, where with the help of my enthusiastic dad, they scoured the city for clues and won $2,000 in 1964. Over the years, she won cars, a snowmobile, motorcycles, TVs, boomboxes, trips, dinners, cash, hundreds of t-shirts, hundreds of 45s and LP records. Some of my friends joke that I was not her biological child, but actually a contest prize.
Did they think that was a good thing?
That was a compliment.
I hope it was a good prize.
Yeah.
So what we have found is that with thoughtful reflection, our mom, Ruth Elaine Newman, was a prize that we fully realized as she let us in through the locked doors, and we experienced the love she had waiting for us.
And to all of those beautiful words, as the sun comes out, we say Amen. Absolutely beautiful. We gather today as a solemn manifestation of the love you have for your mother, grandmother, great-grandmother via YouTube, aunt, relative, and friend, Ruth Newman. Ruth bat Herschel Vachana. Ruth means friendship, and she was a good friend. Speaking and hearing your recollections of her is a reminder of love and a reminder of a profound midrash. The midrash is in the first letter of the alphabet. The first letter of the Hebrew alphabet is the Aleph. And it's also in the first word of the book of Leviticus. The very beginning of the book of Leviticus, Vayikra, begins, Vayikra el Moshe, Vayedaber alav me'ohel moed. And he called to Moses, and God called to Moses, and spoke to him out of the tent of meeting. And the first word, Vayikra, and he called, is spelled Vav Yud Kuf Resh Aleph. The Aleph is the last letter of that first word, and the Aleph in the Torah scroll is written, not regular size, but written very small. And so in every Torah scroll it's written small, and so the rabbis have asked questions for millennia about this, and here is a beautiful midrash. The little Aleph is a reminder of the little things in life, the important things in life, not the grand, huge, sweeping epochs of history, but the little things that are very, very important. Little tears and little hugs and little emotions. And as you spoke about your dear mother and grandma, these kinds of little things were revealed over the course of some time now. And the letter Aleph is also the beginning of a word in Hebrew, Ahava, which means love. And she had tremendous love for you, even though she didn't say it very much until the end, but you had tremendous love for her as well. Some people just showed their love by things and doing things, and she did. That little Aleph is a reminder that God, so to speak, is in the little things in life and not just the big events. God is in every smile and every tear, and even in this terrible, debilitating illness which she suffered, God was in the little things especially. And we find God in the little ways that we share that love with one another. Ruth Moritz was born September 8th, 1925, here in Cleveland. Her parents of blessed memory, Anna and Harry. She's predeceased by her older brother Manuel, her older brother Manny. She went to Cleveland Heights High School. She was very close with her father, and she had vivid memories of going to League Park to see baseball games with her dad. She knew what was going on with baseball. Too many layers, but I do have a baseball tie on, so too many layers to go through. But tragically, Harry died when Ruth was just 13 years old. He had a general goods store in Collinwood, and going to make a deposit, he was robbed and beat up, and then contributed to a heart condition. And so, he died young, and Ruth was scarred by that, and of course, any of us would be. As Steve mentioned, during high school, she went on that bike ride. That was actually very, very, there was a lot of courage in doing that. In 1944, not as much as now in terms of what other people would do, but to go out there, just go and do that, that was fantastic. Ruth met Robert Newman at a Jewish singles dance, and they dated a couple of years, and then were married July 26, 1953. Rabbi Jack Herman officiated. And then there were the blessings of family. She was a stay-at-home mom. She worked at an art studio. She did coloring of graduation pictures, and the kids recalled seeing the easel in the room that she had. And that's a tremendous skill, to take kind of sepia colored pictures and color them so that the eyes are blue and whatever color the lips are and all sorts of things. It's a tremendous skill. She was very talented, and she had a good eye. And as Stephanie recalled the pictures, and Janet recalled the pictures, the house was filled with pictures. She had a good eye. Pictures of the grandkids. I'm sure the kids were there too, but really the grandkids. And anybody who's a grandparent knows, if you could go straight to the grandchildren without the children, you might actually do that. Ruth and Robert were married 64 years at the time of his death in 2017. And many have been the blessings of family. At this point, we have 2 children, 5 grandchildren, 2 great-grandchildren. Sue, Mitchell, Steve, Janet, Beth married to Michael, Stephanie, David, Jackie married to Tim, Sam married to Janelle, and then the 2 great-grandchildren who one day will watch this. The grandchildren will watch it too, but one day the great-grandchildren will really watch this. You'll find a deep connection to your great-grandma. Eddie's birthday in the month is the 27th of December. And Ruth actually passed away on that very day in the month. There are 365 days in the month, Eddie. So this is a tremendous connection, not only for you, but for Molly and all other future great-grandchildren. A tremendous connection to your great-grandma, Ruth. One day you'll watch this video. Sue said, Mom and Dad were very devoted to each other, and I will remember Mom for the rest of my life. I value the time we've had together, especially these last few years, because growing up, she took care of me. Growing up, she took care of us, and now I was able to return that favor in many ways. I was able to take care of her, and that made us close. It made us close. I have been there for her and taking care of her in a way that I hadn't before, and it's made us so much closer. I wouldn't have given that time up for anything. I will always be grateful for that. Getting my turn to take care of her. Steve mentioned the contests. Those are great stories. Absolutely. Steve also mentioned that if you got that the first day of the Wixie, finding the Wixie, it was $10,000. That would have really, $2,000 was a lot of money in '64, but $10,000, pretty amazing that she won that and those other prizes. Your parents were consistent with one another, as Steve said, which is a way of saying they were a bit mashugana. But who among us isn't a little bit mashugana? We're all a little nuts. They traveled together a lot, and they were fearless in their traveling. I mean, they drove to Florida themselves, which I know that the children were a little concerned about. It's a long way. Janet added in what a wonderful grandma she was. They never missed a holiday. They never missed a school event. They didn't miss birthdays. They knew what the 5 grandchildren were up to. And if being grandparents was a college course, they would have done all the coursework and gotten all sorts of extra credit, because they were like the paradigmatic grandparents. You know, they had the pictures of the grandchildren everywhere. It's beautiful. On Sunday, she breathed her last. And actually, Sunday was the day of the week that your dad breathed his last too. It was a Sunday. And so they are together again. There's no more pain or deterioration. There's just rest and wholeness and peace. Her soul is returning to God and to be with the souls of her dear husband and family and relations and the ancestors of our people. We learn this in Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 7. The dust returns to the earth as it was, and the spirit returns to God who gave it. One day all of us will be together in Olam Haba, as Steve tried to explain and I tried to explain to her. It's so beautiful. It's sad and beautiful at the same time. National Geographic will know the address. They can find him. It's just, the thinking is actually there. It's just so beautiful. And now National Geographic has shared the address with her. And so now she is together with him in this eternal time called Olam Haba. We're sending along a High Holy Days Machzor, a High Holy Days prayer book with her, and a Passover Haggadah with her in the casket. Pardon me?
They always had like 800 versions.
I know. I remember because from Grandpa's funeral, I'm telling you here, just as Bob would not throw away any of the old Haggahs, instead he would make cross references to all the pages.
All the different books.
Right. So we're sending along a Haggadah with her too. She can talk it over with Bob. And also the Haggadah is it's all about our ancestors' freedom from Egyptian slavery, and now she is freed from this slavery of dementia in so many ways. Oh, yeah.
Stage 9 Barbara has some comments.
Oh, sure.
Caregiver.
Sure. So it's a mitzvah to escort her body to its final resting place, and it's a mitzvah to provide respectful burial for holy books of our heritage. Your memories are rich with thoughts of Ruth, and we give thanks to God for this gift of life, good long life, 95 years. And as you think of her, you should consider, I think, entering a contest or coloring with pencils, or taking photographs and actually printing them out from your phone and putting them up on the wall. Yeah, take a trip. Choose some of the ways that you know brought her joy and happiness, and do some of those things. Be kinder and more thoughtful, more eager to help and serve others, and do these in her loving memory. And so we say with tears in our eyes words from the first chapter of the book of Job. Adonai Natan, Adonai Lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevarach. The Lord hath given, the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Amen. And now it's a privilege to call forward Barb to speak words about your dear Ruth. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my memories of Miss Ruth with you. She was a very strong-willed person. I remember pushing her down the hallway one day in a wheelchair, and the next day I was running after her as she walked fast down the hallway. I would bring her donuts every day. 2 donuts, and if I came and didn't have the donut, she'd say, "Where is the donuts?" And I have to tell her, "I'll bring them when I come this afternoon." And believe me, she remembered that. She'd ask for that donut. Oh, I feel really privileged and happy to hear you say how she didn't say she loved you, because she and I said it all the time. We would sit on the couch, listen to Jimmy Buffett, and she would snuggle up and put her head on my shoulder, and she'd say, "I love you." And I tell her, "I love you, thank you." And sometimes I would just say, "Do you love me?" She says, "Yes, I love you." So I guess I was privileged to have that. She loved Jimmy Buffett, and she loved to tell me about the time that she and Bob went downtown Cleveland to see Jimmy Buffett live. When the weather was nice, she and I spent a lot of time outside. And I think it was this moment she truly shared with me the love that she had for her grandchildren, her son Steve and daughter Sue. She really loved her family and found comfort in the close relationship that she had with her family. I always would tell her when she said, "Where is Bob?" I say, "He's gone to heaven and he's waiting for you." She always talked about she and I going on a trip. So she finally went on her trip. And I hope she found happiness. Thank you.
And to all of those words spoken as a prayer, let us say Amen. Ose shalom bimroma, uyase shalom aleinu, kol Yisrael ve'imru yimru amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. May God, who causes peace to reign in the high heavens, cause peace to rain down upon us, upon all Israel, and upon the soul of our dearly departed Ruth Newman. And let us say, Amen. We continue with El Maleh Rachamim. Into your care, O God, we entrust the spirit of our dear Ruth Bat Hershel V'chana, our dear Ruth Newman. For you keep faith with your children in death as in life. Sustain us that we may meet with serenity the mysteries that lie ahead, knowing that when we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you, O God, are with us, a loving friend in whom we put our trust. You are the light of our life, our hope in eternity. El Maleh Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Hametzeh Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, Im Kedoshim Utohorim, Kezohar Akiyam Asirim, Et Nishmat Ruth Bat Hershel V'chana, Shehalakha L'olama, Ba'al Harachamim, Yastireha B'seter Kenafav Le'olamim, Vayitzror B'tzor HaChaim, Et Nishmata Adonai hu nachalata v'tanuach b'shalom al mishkava v'nomar Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to our dear Ruth Newman. She has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in the shadow of your wings, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace, and let us say, Amen. And now we sanctify God's name as we recall your dear Ruth. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ba'alma divrach cherutei v'yamelich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chay l'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kari v'yimuru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah muvarach le'olam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei d'kudusha berichu. Le'ila min kol berchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata, damiran ba'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May God grant peace to those who mourn and comfort all who are bereaved among us. And let us say amen. And now the family, if you wish, we will place earth upon the casket to escort her body to its final resting place. Lech ki shilachach Adonai. Go your way, for the Lord has called you. Lech v'Adonai ye'imach. Go your way, and may the Lord be with you. V'halach lefanecha tzidkecha kavod Adonai yasvecha. May your righteousness go before you, and may the glory of God receive you. That was good timing. Could be. Would everyone not wearing a ribbon please repeat these words after me, speaking them to those who are wearing the ribbons? May God console you with all who mourn in Zion and Jerusalem. Hamakom yilachem etchem betoch she'avelei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. We will recite Kaddish for Ruth for the next month. At every single service we do at Temple Israel Ner Tamid. Every single time the Sunday school gets together and does services. Every single time the school gets together and does services, virtually right now. But when we gather, we will recite Kaddish for her for the next month. It'll be our privilege to do so. And this concludes our service here at the cemetery.